The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
Hello, welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip.
And I'm CJ.
And it is Wednesday, hump day in a riv after a
City council meeting.
Council meeting and
a state
of the state of the elitists
Yes.
city. That's what it was. It wasn't a state of the city. It was the state of the elitists. We're doing well. All the rich people are doing well, just like in the United States.
The people that were watching it, watching his State of the City address on Facebook, had some very truly negative comments about his statements.
Yeah.
All he kept talking about was market rate housing.
Yeah.
You know, we got market rate housing downtown. You know what? Market rate housing is just increasing the rents to get rid of affordability for what people can actually handle. This isn't Newton. You want to spend money like Newton? Guess what? Move to Newton.
Exactly.
I mean. And you know, a gentleman, I just heard him on the radio a few moments ago, he said the same thing. He says, if you want to spend money like Newton, move to Newton. This isn't Newton. This is Fall River. He says there's so much fat in the budget, and we keep hearing from administration after administration after administration, there is no fat in the budget. I'll tell you right where there's fat right off the bat. Some of the salaries they're paying. And
not only the salaries, CJ, the positions. You know, CFO, we never had a CFO.
That's
right. The city ran for 100 years with no CFO, no city administrator. Now, okay, if you want a city administrator now, okay. But that budget is inflated due to salaries, as you said. Because if we look, and we will do a comparison. I've been waiting for the 2011 to 22, the 11 years, the total budget, so I can make that comparison, and I'm still waiting, and I'm glad we talked about it today because it reminds me I will be going down to City Hall to pay my water and sewer gouging today, and I might stop by that office and ask for those numbers again, because we can clearly look at what we had in the budget in 11. See, we had more personnel, higher school populations, and a far lower budget. So why do we have fewer employees total in this city, yet the budget is 4 times larger, three or 4 times larger? It's because we've hired all these administrators and paying them big money to do a job that had already has been done when we had a larger complement of employees to deal with. It's all BS, and that's what it is. It's just like his report, but I'll let you finish because I'm gonna hit this hard.
Well, you know, and when I was listening to him, he says our waterfront is gonna be an economic development place for us. You know, was talking about the train coming into the city. I kept saying, I made the comment online. I said, but what was your accomplishments? Where are your accomplishments?
And not only that, CJ, the reality is we've been hearing about the waterfront being developed for 40 years.
I know.
And, you know, that's like the checks in the mail.
Right.
Among other promises
just
that you
like
can't
we heard
say.
About the train.
Yeah, like you say in a year. You know, like you can't say on the year. But that's one of those promises that's never kept. And even if they do develop it, are the people of Fall River going to benefit from that? No. The rich developers, as he talked about in his speech all the time, it's all about the money people. The class, and that's the issue. So go.
And you know, and the thing is that right now, what's going on in the development of the waterfront is market rate housing. Yeah. Some of that land's being sold for market rate housing. Yeah. And what are you going to do? Meaning the public. What are they going to be able to do on the waterfront if all the land is being sold off to market rate housing? What are the people going to be able to do? Oh, well, we got a city pier with no parking. Yeah, no parking.
Yeah. And look, that's the con. The government loves to run a con. The oil prices are going up because of the war in Ukraine. They were going up before the war in Ukraine. This is to push electric cars, and they're invested in green, and the progressives in a Green New Deal. There's plenty of oil. We're going to cripple Russia. That is the biggest pile of crap in the world. Russia will sell oil to India, which is probably the second most populous country on the planet. Germany, but China, the largest populated country, the two largest, India, and Turkey. So they're not going to lose a dime. They sell 1% of the oil that the United States gets. 1%. So we're going to stop that 1%. You don't think they can absorb that 1% between Germany, India, China, Turkey, and a whole bunch of other countries on the other side? This is, again, they want to hype everybody up to divert the attention from the disaster this country has become because of their policies. And now they can blame it. Oh, everything's about the Ukraine war. It's crap. Prices gone up, the inflation, the supply chain was a total crap show before the war in Ukraine started. And, you know, this is about class war. And I'll get to that later when we finish this, because there was one of the most disgusting and nauseating examples of that on television. And I will get to that in a bit. But let's finish this.
Well, I'll tell you, like I said, the State of the City address was more of a, again, political stump speech, as usual. Usual. Why they put that in the charter?
Stumping, by the way, stumping to who, I don't know. But the average people of Fall River don't give two damns about what some developer who lives in Naples, Florida, how much money they're making. And the thing is, what they're developing will not help Fall River.
That's right.
Because that's the other con they're running. They're going to gentrify Fall River, which is code for saying they're going to throw all the poor people out of Fall River, force them out of their apartments, and we're going to bring in all the yuppies from Boston with a lot of money. And if they do bring a few yuppies in, they're not going to shop in Fall River. They're not going to seek their entertainment in Fall River. They're going to go to Providence and Boston, where they always went. If they come. Market rate housing will be then turned at some point in time. But remember that fiasco called Point Gloria?
Oh, yes.
Remember those high-end condominiums and they were making down at Point Gloria? Oh, yeah, we're gonna bring in all the rich people. They're gonna love to look over the Taunton River. And they sold, actually, I knew the guy, I think he was on a task force with me, who bought the penthouse apartment. And at that time, he paid like, I don't know, $200 grand for that thing. A few years later, they had Section 8s in there.
That's right.
Because they couldn't rent anything. So you're going to build all this market rate housing and expect people from Newton to move to Fall River to save what? To save a few dollars on their rent? The people who live in these places can already afford their own homes and any kind of rent. If they're paying rent in Boston, they can move to Braintree and save enough to make it worthwhile. They don't have to come to... This is all a giant con, so all his rich buddies... And it was obvious on that speech. Oh, the developers, we got this, and and thank this developer, and remember that segment we had about the developers that are coming into Fall River, New Bedford, and the Cape?
Yep.
And they were they had some charges filed against them pending.
They did. Yep.
They're not altruistic. They're shady people who are coming in to make a fast buck, and they're not moving to Fall River. Everything's so great for Fall River. Why does this guy live in Naples, Florida? Why is his son on a board about how to develop the waterfront?
And he lives in Naples, Florida.
And he lives in Naples, Florida, too. Yeah, you think maybe they're going to try to direct that to his daddy, the developer? Nah. Yeah, he cares a lot about the people making 25 grand. That speech was exclusively targeted, excluding the majority of people in the city of Fall River.
I agree. I totally agree. And I'll tell you right now, one of the things that really got me, and I knew that this was a line of bull from the get-go, was when he turned around and said, and we had a meeting at Espirito Santo about the Flint and what we can do, and we had developers and we had neighborhood leaders. The neighborhood leaders was Carlos, okay? Yeah. And Carlos said that nothing, they said, will benefit what the Flint needs. It only benefits the developers.
Well, what the hell does he know? He's only been the president of Flint Association for like decades.
Yeah,
so, I mean, what does he know about the Flint? What do the people who live in the Flint know about the Flint? The developer, listen, you dummies, because that's what they think you are. The developers know best. The developer that's not going to develop the Flint and move into the Flint, he's going to develop and go back to Naples, Florida, and put his feet in the water. That's what he's going to do. Sit by his pool and sip a drink with an umbrella in it and laugh at the rubes up in Fall River.
Yeah.
They're going to sell you everything that everybody doesn't want, like wind farms and things like that. This was a con job directed at, you know, it was the rah-rah speech pretending it, but if you pay attention to what he said, everything was directed at people from out of town who have no interest in Fall River except making money from Fall River, and they're going to take their carpet bags and run when they're done. And then he expects you to stand up and applaud like a bunch of seals, trained
Well, the only
seals.
people that stood up last night to applaud was city employees.
That's right.
Because that's all I could see.
Yeah.
I couldn't see anyone who didn't work for the city in the audience.
And every clap was, were they clapping to that new song? They just said, give me a pay raise.
Give me a pay
Give me a pay raise. I'm here. Give me a pay raise. Okay, that's what that was all about.
Yep.
But that's all it was. It's like Congress, you know, with Biden. You know, when what's his name from the Senate? I'm drawing a blank here because there's so many of them I hate in this. The Senate leader, the president from New York.
Oh,
See, you're drawing a blank too now.
yeah,
That's what
I know.
happens when you're under
I
the gun.
can see his face, though.
Yeah. Well, whatever. When he stood up and, oh, wait, I'm off script. Oh,
Yep.
wait, what do I do? Sit down, stand up, and Nancy Pelosi going like this because she didn't know when to
That's right.
applaud. This is all theater. It's all theater. Because they're telling you to your face that you're worthless. They don't care about you. That gas prices. And I'm going to get to this now because I can't stand it anymore.
Well, I can get to the city council meeting after that, so
Yeah.
go ahead.
To show you the disgusting separation between the haves and the have-nots, the elites, and the
no
regular
leets.
people and the no-leets. Stephen Colbert, that night talk show host, gave you the greatest example. They won't show it on CNN, they won't show it on MSNBC, but they'll show it on, conservative said, Colbert stood up and said, well, you know, we're paying a lot more for gas. But you know something? We can absorb a couple of dollars for the good of the world. Okay, trained seals. Yeah, we can do it. Really? The guy making 25 grand can absorb this? But you know why he said that? You know what Stephen Colbert makes? $16 million a year.
Yeah.
For standing up there and spewing this garbage. And then to rub salt in the wound, to show you how little he cares about you, he urinated all over you. Because right after, he talked about how he can afford a few dollars and we should all afford a few dollars for the greater good. He said, but I don't care. I got a $150,000 Tesla. I don't use gas. Of course, you make $16 million a year and you got an electric car. So do you care about the $2? Do you care about the $3? Are you a guy that's now spending $70 or $80 to fill that tank to go to work that he's clearing about $300 a week? Now he just lost a third of his net pay because of the gas increases. Then he's going to go to the market and lose another third of his pay. And by the time he gets done, they're going to be broke. People in this country are already having to choose between what they eat, the medications they buy, and buying gasoline and food. The inflation is out of control. But the Stephen Colberts of the world care? Do the Paul Coogans of the world care? No. He's indicted by his own words. How long have we been hearing him talking about his lawyer friends, his developer friends,
His banker
banker friends? I don't hear him say, oh, the guy that works down at McDonald's slinging hamburgers for, so those are my buddies. Those are my buds. I'm going to meet him at McDonald's later and have a fish sandwich. No, you don't hear that. What you hear about is the developers are coming in. That's because Fall River's so great. No, Fall River is a fertile ground to sell them anything, a bill of goods. And shame on that council, but most of them have got money. All of them have got money. They don't really care that much. It's not that big a deal. If it doesn't bother you, what do you care? Yeah, and these people that are making millions of dollars don't care about $2, but some, I saw interviews of people at the gas station. I can't, it just cost me $80 to fill my tank. What am I going to do? And I got to gas up a couple times a week, and I got to go to work.
Yep.
So this is the problem. But the last thing that I saw, like this hype about the war. No, they all want a war, too. That'll divert even more attention and kill a whole bunch of Americans. Remember the old adage. Rich old men and women, like Pelosi, start wars, and poor young men die in them, and women now, because women are near the lines. This is not my numbers. This is from a Rasmussen report, which is a pretty reliable source, the Rasmussen report. Definitely. They asked if the war gets more involved, should the U.S. be part of that war? They said of their survey, they said of all voters, 49%, which isn't even half, but 49% said yes. But here's the breakdown by income, and this is what tells everything. See, figures don't lie, but liars can figure. They take the figures and they manipulate them.
Right.
They manipulate them. These are the figures from Rasmussen, not from me. People with an income of under $30,000 a year, only 37% of the people said yes. Because the rest of the people, the 63% who said no, a vast majority, are the people whose sons and daughters are going to get killed if we get in a war. 30 to 50,000, 48%, less than half. 50 to 100,000, 51, barely over half. 100 to 200K, 52%, barely over half. Over 200,000, 66%. Because you know why? None of their kids are going to be on the front lines. Right. None of their kids are going to fight in a war. And the gas prices and the food prices don't bother them. I mean, what the hell? Do you really believe that Nancy Pelosi gives a crap about how much food costs? She eats $15 a pint ice cream. I mean, what the hell? You think it's going to bother her? Her ice cream costs more than a dinner in most Portuguese restaurants. It's only a couple of bucks less than a dinner. You think people like that care? And they're showing their total disregard for the average person in America. They do not want a middle class. They want everybody but the rich to be dependent on the rich and the powerful. And that's the problem. And that speech was a mini State of the Union address by Biden, pretending that everything is fine in the United States, which is a load of crap.
Well, that's what he said in his State of the City address. He turned around and said that we're on strong economic footing. But meanwhile, he's saying that he's using ARPA money for everything.
Yep.
If it wasn't for ARPA money, what would he be doing? He's got no accomplishments.
And structural deficits, again, what he's doing is incorporating structural deficits in a budget that will bite us in the ass when he's gone. And that's the way politicians operate. The first thing they say is, when am I going to have to stop paying this bill? Oh, it's going to be 13 years down the road. Well, don't worry about it. I'm not going to be here in 13 years. I probably won't be on a council. If I do, I'll say, oh, everybody else is in favor of it at the time. They don't care. They do not have any fiduciary responsibility. Their mantra is always spend as much as you can, tax as much as you can, and kick every can you can down the road. And let the grandchildren and great-grandchildren worry about the debt. Let them worry in 5 or 10 years about going into receivership. Right now, I'm going to tell you everything is rosy, You know, remember, the grass is always greener over the cesspool.
Isn't that the truth? But, you know, when I heard that we're, you know, on good economic standing, I was like, where? Where? We're fighting so much that we can't meet our budget if Diamond gets built. So we have to have a debt exclusion to pay the bill. We couldn't pay for Durfee, so we had to have a debt exclusion to pay the bill.
Yeah.
But we're in good economic footing, aren't we? We can't pay the bill unless we raise the taxes, extensively raise the taxes.
Yeah, or remember what they said, what our pal said. Well, cut. Go cut. Well, the problem with cutting is that same council will allow them to threaten cuts in public safety, cuts where they're really needed, to threaten you and badger you into paying.
That's right.
But they will not hold this mayor accountable. They will not say, well, you wanted it, we got it. Ditch the, look at all the positions that weren't here 10 years ago and get rid of them. Get rid of your chief of staff. We had a man when the city had more people, more everything, more employees, more services, did our own snow plowing, did our own trash pickup. He had 2 secretaries. No chief of staff, 2 secretaries. No chief of staff, no CFO of middle schools, no all these things. Because as I said, I am gonna do it when I finally get the numbers. We are gonna look at the budgets and see, and then we're gonna look at I challenge all of you, go back, get the city budgets and look at the personnel. Look at the personnel in these departments. They've all been drastically reduced. However, the administrative tier of this city has grown disproportionately. And that's the fact. That is a fact. You know, now all of a sudden we need a CFO, we need a BFO, we need a DFO, you just come up with any kind of FO you need and we'll make it. Remember, I gave you guys a tip when we were talking about the Baltimore school system. You guys have not established what was it? I've even forgot the thing, the chief academic officer.
That's right.
Academic achievement officer or some ridiculously inane title. Just make up something. You know, just make it up and just give them the damn salary, because that's what you do best. Create meaningless and useless positions and duplications of effort. That's what you do. That's what you do best. And then you tell, everything's rosy. I'm running the city on a scratch ticket. But don't worry, this isn't going to bite you in the butt down the road. Don't worry about it. I'm paying half of the bills on a scratch ticket. But I only get that money once. But don't worry about it. Everything is fine. And if you believe that, I'll sell you a couple of bridges. You know, so.
Well, the Bragg Bridge needs a lot of work, so I would skip
It
that.
always needs work, because all the people, all the people that contribute to the governor's race, they all get work. That's why
right.
you notice that the roads and highways in Massachusetts, they're never finished.
Never.
I've been driving 128 for, I don't even want to tell you how long, you know. There's always some kind of construction there. Every year there'll be some construction. And if they don't need it, they'll figure out a way to do it. Remember, how many times have they changed the Jersey barriers and the way that, you know, they'll find something to do to reward their campaign contributors. And these developers, the only thing they're developing is their bank account.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. When I lived in Minnesota, we had 2 seasons in Minnesota, just 2.
Yeah.
Snow removal and construction. That was it. I think they stole that from Massachusetts.
Yeah.
Because that's all we have: snow removal and construction. It goes to say a lot. So, but you bring up a lot of good issues there, Chip, and I think that we need to address them, and we need to review them and do a little research into them and find out what's going on. And you know, we'll bring that to our viewers in the near future.
I hope they're a little quicker than the $44,000 that was in a city account rather than the employee account. That I still have the letter of requesting where that money migrated to when it was erroneously put in city funds. That if it moved from accounts to account, And that letter was written in 2016.
And still no answer.
Still haven't got any answer.
Yeah, amazing, isn't it? Isn't it amazing? We never have any answers to any questions. But thank you very much. I appreciate everything you've done today. The city council meeting after the state of the city address was rather interesting. First off, in the finance committee meeting, we had Ken Pacheco from the school department to submit 2 applications, or 3 applications, it looked like 2 applications, to the MSBA. You know that organization that funds some, not all, some of the construction or reconstruction work that they do on schools? So he wanted to send a letter of intent, and he needed approval from the city council. So basically what he's saying is, we're going to look at spending some more money on schools that already exist. And here was one of the things that really made me laugh. You got to love this. You know where the Stone School is, correct?
Yeah, oh, yes. Yeah.
All right. Here was the plan for the Stone School. We're going to build up the existing building, and then we're going to build around that building more classrooms around it. So what are we going to have? A little, we're going to go over the moat to get in there?
Who knows? Yeah.
But again, this is going to cost the taxpayer money that we don't have. And that's one of the big issues that we got to address. And a question came up from a city councilor. If we vote on this tonight, it's going to cost us money. No, it's not going to cost us any money at this time, because this is just a vote to send a letter of intent. The last time we sent a letter of intent, it took 10 years, if you remember the Durfee project. 10 years. 10 years to hit us in 8 years with, a TED exclusion. So we'll have to see what that holds.
Yeah.
But that was one of the first things that got me. Then we came to the appointment. Now, Paulo Amaral was on there, and we were thinking, wow, Paulo Amaral. Doesn't that name sound familiar?
Yeah.
Okay. And he's being appointed to the Conservation Commission. But the real interesting was Laura Washington.
Oh.
Laura Washington was being appointed to the Sewer Commission. And her friend, Linda Pereira, voted to table that appointment. Did Laura fall out of grace with Linda? Did Laura fall out of grace with the mayor? Did she fall out of grace with the other city councilors that supported her to become a city councilor? I'm wondering what happened there. There's got to be a story behind it.
Oh, there is. There probably is. We'll have to get to the bottom of that one, because there may have been some councilor that had something that was going to say something that they didn't want to be said, and they have to lobby.
Yep.
So, but, we find all this stuff. Now, just remember one thing. We've got to bring up something. I got to bring up something quickly, because these shows are so full of mismanagement that I just want to remind you guys that your state representative delegation all voted in favor of giving illegals licenses. So I don't care what that your position is. The fact is that somebody who is already violating the laws of this country should not be. But this is Massachusetts, and they get some lame excuse. But they supported that, and I think that's outrageous. I mean, let's give the people, when the people of Massachusetts can't afford gas, you're going to give illegals licenses and all the costs and stuff that are going to come along with it. Then you're going to have to insure them because they got a driver's license. And
That's
then,
right.
So then we're going to probably subsidize that. So just remember that. So I just wanted to make that. We haven't brought that up yet, but
Nope.
we will cover it in greater detail on another show.
Yep, and we've had that out there for a bit of time now.
Yep.
So we've known that. And yes, all 3 of our state representatives, actually 4, if you include Pat Haddad from Somerset, all voted to allow for illegals to get licenses. I have so much more I really want to talk about, like the Jazel Carrere, Jen Andre situation, and I mean, this is...
Free Jazel. Everybody else got freed.
Everyone else got freed. No one got jail time. So I want to thank you all for watching, and remember, stay safe, stay angry, and hold your politicians accountable. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.